Hey friends, welcome. Sorry for the slight delay and thank you for your patience. It's great to be back with you. Happy New Year. If you and I have not met, my name is Emily and I'm with Heartfelt Creations. You and I are in for a phenomenal 2 hours learning how to create with the Elegant Gateway dies. Now, if you were with us on Black Friday, chances are you have those 4 dies, you've got those card panels, and you are raring to go, right? So today we're going to step through, we're going to learn 15 different ways. I have 15 projects plus a bonus project as well. So we're going to have some fun, learn some things along the way. If you have not taken an online class before, we just want to say welcome. You are in a great group of crafters. Don't be shy, introduce yourselves. I've been having a blast seeing your comments. You've been doing such a phenomenal job introducing yourself and chatting. I know some of you have been saying how many classes you've taken. One of you asked if Emily forgot to plug in the camera. Yep, it was bouncing out in the snow piles. We captured it, brought it back in, and we got started on our online class. So anyway, welcome. It's 2021, right? So you are in the very first online class for this year. Congratulations for taking action and getting yourself registered. You are with over 450 other crafters that are taking this class with you today. So introduce yourselves as we go through. Don't be shy. Ask those questions. I can see your comments and I do my best to answer those questions for you as we go through. Hi, Bonnie from Canada. Hi, Chris. Hi, Fran from sunny Victoria, British Columbia. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Cindy. And a shout out to Carol. You said you've taken 38 of the 39 classes that we've offered. So I just appreciate each one of you being here today. Now, before we get started, if you've never taken an online class, here are some top tips that other crafters have said that work well for them when you're taking an online class. Now, just remember when you're taking a class, this will be added to your account so you can rewatch it as many times as you want. Just kind of think of it like this. It's kind of like you have me in your back pocket when you're ready to craft. You can start it, you can pause it, and then you can continue on after you've done each step. That is much easier than trying to keep up during class. So lots of crafters say their top tip is just to watch when the class is live, get your questions asked, and then you can do it at a speed that's comfortable for you after the class has aired. If you got those emails, you should have gotten a PDF that has the die cuts pieces that we're using in the class today and all the sizes of the paper that we did die cut. So you'll want to make sure that you reference to that. In case you missed the email, the PDF link is right underneath the screen, so you can get that as well. And just a heads up as well, for this class, some of the tools you might want to use is like a handy dandy, like thing that removes all those paper pieces. I'm using the Spellbinders Tool-in-One. I know that there's a couple different ones out there. You'll want to have some foam strips. You might want to have like a Score Pal, or you could also use your paper trimmer for some folding that we're going to do. In this class, in case you hadn't noticed it, in the description of the class, we said we're just doing techniques. So you'll see like all the cards that we're doing today have beautiful flowers to finish it off. So that's just an idea. Today we are strictly going to focus on die cutting and how you can layer these dies together to get many different looks. Does that sound fun? So with that, we'll take a close-up look at the very first card we're going to put together and how you can layer that together. So are you ready for some fun? I know one of you said you went off, got some chocolate. One of you said you have a kitty on your lap. So it sounds like lots of you are comfortable, you're cozy, and you're ready to get started. So with that, we'll get a close-up of the very first card that we're going to focus on creating. And I know Christmas we just passed Christmas. I hope you had a great Christmas season. I know that it may have looked very different for you this year. Tell me what were some of your favorite moments and memories that you created for this Christmas season. It's never too early to think about next Christmas, right? But the reason I brought this one in and the next card is also Christmas themed. But you could use this as a Christmas card, or you can use this same technique and really switch it up and do a completely different look or style with it. So just keep that in mind as we go through. Michelle, you said you love the print on my blouse. Thank you. Would make a great card, right? I like to use creative blouses, right? So Sheila, happy birthday. You said good morning from New Zealand. I got your email. I hope you're having a happy birthday. Hi, Liz from Northern Ireland, and Happy New Year to you as well. Chris, you said you are ready. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and just take another close-up look of this card, and then we'll get started. So when you look at these pieces, what we're going to focus on today is just the backgrounds of these cards and how you're going to layer together your dies to get these specific cuts. Because when you are looking at these, you might have opened up your die cut and you're thinking, oh my goodness, this has so many pieces. How do I layer this together? And what kind of look can I get with this? So that's what we're going to focus on today. One of my gals in the customer care team said, Emmylou, the Scallop Flourish Gateway die is the one that she opened it. She's like, oh my goodness, this has 11 pieces. That means it's very versatile, but like, wait, how do I layer this together and start using it? So hopefully this does that for you. So with this one today, we are going to do some die cutting. Some of these I am going to just show you how to layer them onto the paper to run it through. And like I said, if there's something that does not make sense to you, just go ahead and leave a question in the comments and we'll get that answered for you as well. So with that, we're going to take a look at where we're going to get started first on our papers. So in your PDF, it will tell you what type of paper squares to cut for the pieces, okay? So when you look at this card base, we have this outer piece, and just think about, you can always go back and you can sponge around the edges. I will not be doing any sponging today, so you can always do that if you wish to do so. So with this one, this is a piece, like if you just want a plain border that goes onto your card panel. There are two different ones that you can do that with. So if you get your card base out of your card pack, you can always do one that has that slight edge all the way around, right? So what I did is I took the largest die from the Scalloped Flourish Gateway set, and I cut that out of this piece, okay? So you can go ahead and you can just lay that on top. You can run that through your machine, die cut that out, and you will have this piece that will layer right on top. So that is a great core piece from this die that I love to use. So the next one up is this piece that will layer on top. When I cut this piece out, what I did is I took the next die in the set. So we're really just going to step this out so you have a great visual on how you can layer these together to get these specific cuts. So we took this paper that has kind of that nice plaid background. We put this on top, ran that through. This has that scallop, and this comes out of the very same die, which is a Scallop Flourish Gateway. And we'll layer this on top, right? Okay. So if you wanted to, you just go ahead. Some of the die cutting that I'm going to be doing today is more like intricate die cutting techniques. So you'll see that oftentimes today for stuff that's more like just a basic cut, I won't be running that through the die cutting machine so that we can focus our time on running things through that are maybe a little bit more complex for you. So we're just going to go ahead and layer this right on top. So as you can see, this is a very quick and easy card base. And then you can go ahead and layer this. Now, the next piece that we layered on top was going to be this white outline. Now, this one, what I love about it is you have so much versatility in how you layer this die together. However, you can really mix and match these pieces. You could have filled in the top and the bottom, but here we chose to keep more of the plaid look in there, right? So when you cut this out, we cut it out where we have this outline piece, right? So you might be like, okay, how do you do this one? So what you're going to do is you're going to take a white piece of cardstock, and we're going to start cutting this out. Now, you'll remember that for this first piece, for the first layers of the cards, we use the two largest pieces. Then we're going to go ahead and grab this next piece, which is the third size in this die. We're going to go ahead and layer this onto our card base. And I am going to lightly just put this down with a piece of tape. So with this one, I'm just going to show you how I layered that to get this cut, okay? So when you do this cut, you'll have this piece, and these are what I call my outline pieces. So you have this piece, this will get layered on the bottom. Then you'll grab the piece that's in the middle. This one will go right in the center, and I will just lightly lay these in. And then we're going to go grab the top piece, and that's going to go right on the top. So this is the layer that you're going to want to create to cut this piece out. So once you have this done, what I like to do is just kind of, I use the eyeballing technique. If you wanted to do the measuring, you could totally do that. I don't try to like overthink it, but you can just use a piece of tape. You could do it on both sides if you want to. Just tape that down, run that through, and you're going to have a cut that looks like this. Does that make sense? Shanta, you said, can we use any of these dies in the set to make our own card bases if we want another color? Yes, you can use these dies, the big ones you could use to just make like a simple fold card base. And one of the cards that we're doing today, actually, we will show you how to do that. So a little bit later on in the class, we will show you that technique as well. So that's the base on how you can create this outline piece, okay? So once you've done that, so this is the die that has 11 pieces, which means lots of versatility, but it can look a little overwhelming if you're just getting ready to use it and you're like, wait, how does this really work? So now you're going to go ahead and you can layer this right on top. So I would just go ahead, if you're doing this at home, add glue all the way around the edges, but I'm just going to do the center just for the sake of time today. But we're going to go ahead and layer this on top. And then for this piece that I cut out for the center, now you could have filled in each section, but for this card, we're just going to do the center. All you need to do is take this piece, which is the large piece in the middle, grab a white piece of cardstock, you'll lay this down, and you'll also want to add the outline die so it removes it from the cardstock. You'll run that through your piece of machine, and that will just cut that right out for you. And then you're going to be able to just add this into the card base in the center, and then you can embellish this card however you like. So very simple steps. I really look at these dies kind of as puzzle pieces. It's really like putting together a puzzle. You can add, remove pieces and just have a lot of fun. And the die that I'm using right now is the one with the most pieces, which creates more versatility, but it can look a little bit overwhelming when you're looking at it the first time and you're like, wait, how does this come together, right? So then you might be like, okay, you can just decorate it like this, but maybe you want to take it to the next level and you also want to decorate the inside, right? So here we have just a beautiful kind of ornate image with the cardinals, and then over here we have a gift pocket. So you could use this for, say, if you're wanting to do a gift card for Christmas, you could totally switch this up and use it for birthday as well. So Jeanette, you said, what type of tape do you recommend? I'm just using a blue painter's tape. Some people like to use a removable Scotch tape. So something that removes, some people like washi tape. Something that you feel like doesn't stick too much but still holds your dies in place. So I'm not super picky about that. If you have a tape that you love to use, but it's super sticky, just tap it against your skin or your shirt, and that kind of removes a little bit of the extra stickiness for you, because you definitely do want it to stick for you. So we're going to go back and do the inside of the card. So for this one, this is a beautiful die cut piece that comes from a different die, and that is from the Ornate Flourish Gateway die. So for this one, we did a little bit of a different combination, okay? So for this one, what we did is we took, this die looks very similar in design, but it has a different outline and a little bit different shape along the outside edges, and this piece is hooked together, so it kind of does that automatically for you. So with this one, what we did is we took our cardinal paper and we ran it through with this die and just cut this out next. Once that was done, you see how this edge is actually a little bit more straight. We went back and we grabbed the die from our Ornate Flourish, not the Ornate Flourish, the Scalloped Flourish Gateway die. Remember the outside edge, and we just layer this on top and cut that edge off so that we have like that smooth edge all the way around instead of a ruffled edge. That is totally up to you. You could grab the ruffled edge that is within this die and use that as well. But that's what we did for the center here. So that's just a little bit of a different, like, versatile way that you can create with that. So you're going to go ahead and do this. So this technique, what I love about it is it makes that if you are putting a paper in the center of our gateway cards, it just kind of trims that, makes that fits perfectly in there, right? See how beautifully that just fits in there? So just think about all those pretty paper designs that you kind of have a hard time covering up and cutting up. This is a beautiful way to use it, right? Now you can go back to the other side of the card and we'll add that pocket. So again, we are using just that cutout, which is the one that just leaves a little bit of an edge. We're going to use that on the end here. And then for the pocket, I love how you can utilize the pocket multiple ways. And you can kind of trim it up. So here we have the pocket square cut out. You can see how we just used the plat and then we trimmed it. So with this, you can go ahead and make your pocket by gluing down on 3 sides. So go ahead and do this. And then once you're finished, you can actually utilize this die cut, which is from your Scallop Flourish Gateway die. And you can go ahead and you can kind of measure. You'll see that this is not the same width, so you'll want to use the edge here. So if you want to just go ahead and trim off, say like maybe here, and just kind of hold this into place and snip just where this starts to arch. And then you can go ahead and you can just glue this down on the bottom, and you can also clip off the other side and glue it on the top, and you'll have that beautiful little edge. So you can use the scallop edge by just clipping it apart and using that. So kind of keep that in mind. Michelle, you said, oh dear, you're going to need more paper pads. These dies really just show off those paper pads, and I just love how those really work together to just bring everything together so perfectly and beautifully. So with this one, that is the basics of this card. Very simple. So if you're thinking about Christmas cards for 2021, very beautiful design that you can easily and quickly put together. The next card is a little bit more advanced in the way we did a fold out technique with that. So we'll take a close-up look at that and we'll get started creating that one as well. So with this card, you'll notice that we have this beautiful, if you watched us on Black Friday, I told you that this is probably my favorite die. I don't know about you, but it is such a stunning die, very pretty to use. And that is the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. It has 4 pieces, so it has a little bit more of the pieces just working seamlessly together. So a little bit, maybe a little less versatility than the one with the 11 pieces, but the design just is so elegant, so versatile, and so fun to create with. So with this one, we did add a fold out opening. So this is a different way to create that fold out into the card. Isn't that pretty? Love how that comes out. So with this one, I'll have you take a look at that while I grab my paper trimmer, and we're going to do some folding on our card base, and then we'll get started creating the actual base layer. Lynn, you said stunning detail on this die set. I know, right? It's just like a one and done. It just has that stunning factor. So obviously this one I'm showing you in a Christmas theme. You could totally use it in so many different ways. I love it. I think it would be a great one for Easter, sympathy and fun things like that. So you can make a beautiful gatefold card with this. So you'll just want to make sure you measure, and you're going to fold these outer flaps in half, okay? So I'm going to bring this down on my paper trimmer. I'm using my paper trimmer just for my space today because I was like, you know what, I'm going to leave my score pal behind today, and we're just going to use this. So let's just want to measure this real quick. So if you measure the base here, we'll just want to measure this in half, and I'm going to put a little line where my halfway point is, which is at 2.5 inches, so I can easily score this on both sides. So we'll do that on this side. So these cards, if you don't have the fold-out cards yet, this is a 5x7 size, so you can easily put them in your 5x7 envelopes when you're doing these at home. You could also just bump it up to the 2.5 mark on your paper trimmer if you wanted to. So totally up to you how you choose to do that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to fold the outer 2 panels in half. Slide your card in and do the other one. Let's see. This is 2.5 right here. And just bring this down. And then when you bring this together, this one will be folded back. So that comes in this direction, and then this one will be folded back, and you have that card that just beautifully folds up like that. Does that make sense? I love how that comes together so quickly. Chantel, you said tips for cutting with this die, please. Some of us have difficulty getting clean cuts on the bottom section of swirl area. Yes, I'll be happy to do that. Karen, you said, can you cut your own and save the fold-out cards with a 12 by 12? This is a 15-inch paper. So if you wanted to make these cards by yourself, you'd need to hinge them with a scrap piece of paper to hinge them. So that's totally up to you if you wanted to do this, but the width or the length of this paper is a 15-inch paper. So you can go ahead and fold this together like you see down in here. So we'll get a close-up look. So this card base is all together. So Karen, back to your question, it really just depends on what kind of crafter you are based on what you want to accomplish. If you're wanting to do things quick and easily, the card bases will do that for you. But if you want to spend time piecing card bases together, you could totally do that as well. So it's just something to kind of figure out what you wanted to do with that. So with this, again, let me just pull these pieces forward. So you're going to go ahead and you'll have 2 pieces of paper that you're going to cut in half, okay? So this is all done with the outline piece that we were using from the Scalloped Flourish Gateway die. So again, you're using the largest die within that piece. You're going to go ahead and you're going to run that through, and you'll cut out 2 pieces of paper, and then you'll cut them in half at the 2.5-inch mark. So with this, yes, Susan, what you said, I think that you'll watch because you're already way behind. Yes. With this, you'll definitely want to watch because I've got everything like laid out exactly what I'm going to do next. And if you're like pulling dies and, oh, I need this piece of paper, it's a little bit hard to keep up with that. So we definitely recommend that once the class is over, you can just pause, you can do your step and go back and forth with that. So once you have those cut in half, you're going to be able to glue these down on your card base. So you're going to go ahead and do that on each side. So we'll do that first. If it helps, you might want to just clip down those sides just so that they don't just pop open all the time. But if you're, if it doesn't feel too clumsy for you, you can just keep it open. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this one down on this side. And that gets it started. So as you can see, as we go through, this is just such a beautiful way to use these card bases paired with this die to get really elegant and beautiful designs that look like you spent so much time creating, but really once you're done, it's like, oh my goodness, look at what I just did. So with this one, then you can go back and you can add the different pieces inside here. So you can go ahead and add this one on this side if you wanted to, and just glue that in. That's just going to be on the inside, so you don't have to worry about it not matching the outer piece because that is going to be more of an inside piece once that's all layered together. So we're going to go ahead and put this one on the opposite side. So now you have the front panel and the front inside decorated. So before we do anything to this piece, actually maybe we just want to do the inside right away. So the inside, all we did is we decorated by taking this piece, which was the same die, just all together, and we layered this in, and we'll glue this into the center, and then we layered this piece on top. And I will show you how you can cut this piece out, because I know some of you have questions about that. This one, Cheryl, I am on card number 2. So I'm on card number 2. So if you, yes, if you have any questions on which cards I'm I'm on, just let me know, and I'd be happy to tell you that. And then we just added a stamped image on the center, or you could also stamp a sentiment, write your, a special message for a friend, and do that however you like. So with this one, we'll come back, we'll close this up, and then we have this very same die just layered in the front on both sides. So you'll die cut this piece out from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. So this die is this one. We're going to go ahead and grab this outer piece, and we're going to grab this second piece. Okay, so these are the two pieces that we're going to use, and I'm going to show you how to cut this out. Let's grab a white piece of cardstock, and we're going to shim this. Today I'm using the Vagabond. Now, I know some of you were saying that you were having an issue, I believe, cutting in this area down in here. So if that is an area that you have a problem with cutting, okay, let's see. There's a couple things that you'll want to do. Now, you know how when you're on a machine that you're running it through, like you put it through lengthwise, and then technically you should rotate it so there's more pressure on this area. The reason that is when you're running this die through, the blades are rolling this way, okay? So they're rolling, 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 and then all of a sudden they hit this one for like a microsecond and bounce off, right? So that's why you might be having some issues in here, because like when it's going down here, it is spending time like rolling, rolling, rolling over this side. Does that make sense? And then if you have a large machine, you might want to rotate it, and then that blade can roll, roll, roll over this section, okay? I am going to put this in the Vagabond. Now, if you just have a Vagabond, I actually have two machines here today. One of them is a bigger machine so that I can run it through with larger card bases, and I am also using the Vagabond. So you see this machine back here. I have this as a backup, and then I have this one. So I'm working with two machines. The cut emboss back here I have primarily because I like it to cut into card bases when I'm doing larger pieces. The Vagabond I love because it has more pressure for intricate dies. My cut emboss machine is a machine with like 8.5 by 11 plates, and I don't like that one for intricate dies. It just doesn't have great pressure. And I've noticed that across the board, machines, the larger they get, the less, the less strength they have for some intricate dies. So that's just my 2 cents. You might have a machine you love, works great, and machines can kind of vary from piece to piece. So if you have an issue on this area specifically, I'm going to show you a shimming technique. You might also have the metal shims and things, but I wanted to show you something you can do with cardstock if you don't have that. So we'll get a close-up look on what I am doing to shim this one. So I'm going to put a piece of cardstock right just over this area, so that gives a little bit more pressure in that area when that blade hits it for a microsecond. And then I'm going to put a piece of paper right on top to cover the entire thing. So it's kind of like double shimmed in that area. We will run this through and cut that out. My plates, okay, are ready to go. I was gonna say, I didn't do a machine check before I started today, so I was like, I hope my electricity is on, right? Pretty much the time that you don't check is the time that it's not, right? But it's all on, it's all plugged in. Fran, you said you love your Vagabond. Lorna, you said, if I cannot roll it through sideways for the second pass, though, I run it through at an angle. Yes. So like the Vagabond, I can't run this through at an angle, so we'll see how that cut it out. And if we needed to, I would just run it through at a slight angle. That helps it. So let's see how that is. So that is, okay, so here's something I want to point out. So you see how this in the center, actually, can we get a close-up look? So you'll see in the center right there, it cut out really well, but right here, it didn't. Okay, so remember how we had an extra shim right in here? So that just made that crunch right through there. So if you wanted to, if you're at home, you might even want to try and do the shim like this, and that would give it some great pressure. So that is a trick that actually applies to pretty much any die that you have. So it's something to kind of, I think when you kind of understand the dynamics of what a machine is doing, that really helps with that. So I'm just going to run that through. I put that sandwich just the full length. And that should have just, yep, that just cut that out really beautifully. So hopefully that helps you. Let's get a close-up look to see how beautifully that's cut out. And I could have probably done that on the first pass if I would have just done that right away. So experiment with your machine. All I would say is when you see that a die is having issues in your machine, if you can kind of use that concept and kind of think through it in that way, that will help you troubleshoot that pretty fast. And then you can just punch out those little pieces, and you are ready to add that to your card. So with this one, we'll take a close-up look on how this is layered together. So with this one, you have that cut apart. Let me add this die on top. Okay, so you'll cut it in half. When you cut it in half, it's at the 2.5-inch mark, or you can measure it. So you'll go ahead and do that. So we'll glue this one on this side. So Fran, you said you have a thin metal trim that is the same width as plate and it really works well. That's awesome. And many of you, that is just a tip that I use that anybody can implement, but you might have something that works well with yours. Bonnie, you said you have the Vagabond, you use the Gemini for larger card bases. Yes, so I'm sure some of you use machines for different things, but I think it's helpful to kind of know what some of those machines are, because I know I have some crafters that are like, I'm just going to get a big machine, and then they're disappointed that those just typically don't quite have that strength for that. So next up is the center. The center piece is cut out with this piece right here. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to grab this die and you will cut this out, the center. So you'll go ahead and cut that out, and you'll have this piece, and you're going to go ahead and glue this on top. Now we have part of the paper pad wording on this one, but that is getting covered with flowers, so you don't have to worry about that, because this was just a small tag that we wanted to have the sentiment. And then you can go ahead and close this up, just glue down the one side so you don't glue it closed. So we'll just put this together, glue this in the middle on that one side, and then that is ready. Oops, that's not dry yet, so that's moving around. Okay, so there you've got that glued down on this side, and then that will just open up and you're ready to decorate it. Isn't that pretty? So this is how we decorated it. Add some flowers and you are all good to go with that one. So what do you think about card number 2? Isn't that a fun way to use that? Tell me as you have those aha moments and what you like about them. As we go through, we're going to have a lot of different aha moments and lots of fun things that we'll learn. So tell me what you like about card number 2. And card number 3 is a shaker card. Do you like shaker cards? Shaker cards are fun when you know how to create them. So this is card number 3. We'll take a close-up look on this. This has a very vibrant color palette. And with this one, we're using the same die, so you'll use the same die cutting techniques. And let me know if that was helpful. I know some of you are talking about that. So with this one, we have a shaker. Now, shakers can be created many different ways on these cards, but with this one, you'll see that the sentiment is on the inside on this flap, so you have like a open see-through window, right? So that's what we're going to focus on creating first. So what that means is we are going to cut into that opening first, okay? So when we cut into this, we're going to need to cut into an actual card base, and this is where we're going to use our cut and emboss machine. Now I am going to tell you that if you, for this card I have the fold on the outside, opens up like this, and then you have this flat folded back. If you don't have a large machine, you can do a couple different things, but I would highly recommend what you can do is just take your card base, layer this down, and actually let me tape this down and I'll show you what to do if you don't have a large machine. So if you just have the Vagabond like I do, you can measure this to make sure that it's symmetrical. I'm just using, or in the center, I'm just using the eyeballing technique. But you're going to go ahead and tape this. Now if you don't have a large machine, just fold this card up on top. Don't fold it on the bottom because it's going to cut through your card base. Just fold it on top and run it through it. I don't like to do that because it makes marks on this card base on the back. But you are going to cover it up with paper, so you just need to kind of watch out for that. So if I have a large machine, I just keep everything open, run that through, and cut that out. So while I'm running that through to cut that card base opening, I'm going to have you look at this card more in depth as I run that through my cut and emboss. So do you find, so in my cut and emboss, I just have plates that are cut in half, so it goes through faster when I'm teaching classes, but that is how that looks. And then my card base is just hanging off the edge of the plates, right? So we're gonna run that through our machine. And then we're going to start making a shaker card, which is I really, really love. So when you use it, I wonder why this die is harder to cut through than all the other dies in the set. Maybe the edges aren't sharp enough. With that one, you'll notice that it has the widest, most intricate lacy piece in any of the dies. So if you see that, you'll see that that is why. And you'll see that if you have a die, like the other ones, this is a very, let's see, which die is it? The Ornate Flourish Gateway die. This has a very narrow border. It's not very wide, or it doesn't have a lot of cutout pieces. So that one cuts very differently because there's just not as much being cut in that section. So largely that is why. And then this one has, I don't know if you notice with this one has, you know, die all the way across. So this one, you'll probably experience a very similar because you're coming down, this machine is just coming, and you might have that same effect with that. Maybe you don't, maybe you do. So with this one, we're gonna go ahead, we have that opening cut in there. So you'll see when this cuts out a couple different ways, so you'll have this piece when it cuts out, and then you also have this piece. So that's a little bit hard to see when you first look at that, because you might be like, wait, where did this piece come from? So that is automatically cut out with that one when you're doing it. Okay, so we are ready to create our card base. Okay, so with this one, we're going to layer in our clear cardstock. To make this shaker card, you're doing a double shaker window. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue a clear piece of cardstock over this opening first. So just go ahead and keep away from the window opening a little bit and just put that glue all the way around the outer edges. And we'll go ahead and just pop this on top. And you can, on the PDF, we have measurements on how big to cut this stuff, but you can, I typically just cut a piece that's a little bit larger than my opening and then just trim off the corners since those are rounded on the top, okay? Then you can press that down. And then you are ready to put down this orange layer next. Okay, so with this one, how is it cut? So what you're going to do is you're going to grab, we're using the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. You're going to use this piece for the outside edge, and then you're going to grab this piece for the inside edge. And those are the two pieces that you're going to use to cut this out. So once you have that cut out, you're going to go ahead and just layer this right on top of the window. And you're going to go ahead and do one on the front, and you're going to glue one on the inside as well, okay? So just go ahead and center that with the opening, and you'll have another piece that's cut out the exact same way that is from the lavender that you'll just go ahead and you'll glue that on the opposite side. So you'll go ahead and just glue that right here on the opposite side, and so that is instantly framed, right? Isn't that pretty? Cynthia, you said for card 3, the fold is, for the front is on the right. Actually, you know what? I did this one backwards. It was supposed to be on the left. Yeah, okay, so we're just gonna put this one together a little bit differently. Okay, so if you're not doing this one, I should have cut it on the back here. So double check your folds before you put it together. The only difference, okay, I'm gonna put this one together a little bit differently. So if you have the fold on the left, This piece is going to be in the center, okay? But instead, we have a little bit of a different fold. On this piece is going to be in here where that sentiment's going to be. Actually, let's get a close-up on that because we have a front view right now. Here we go. So on the card that I'm doing, no, you know what? We'll just reverse the lavender and the orange so that we can have the fold the right direction, okay? So where I messed it up was I just put the orange on the back. So we'll do, are you good with a little bit of a reversal of color? I think we can do that, right? Let's see. Yeah, let's do that. Okay. So here we're going to go ahead and we'll have the fold on the left, right? And then we're going to go ahead and trying to see, will that work? No, that won't work because I have the orange on the wrong direction, right? Let's see. You are seeing what I do when I make a mistake. So recomputing. Let's do it the opposite way, like this. So we'll have the orange out so we can layer these together like they're on the original card, okay? So with this one, what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to layer this lavender piece on top with this piece. To cut it, you're going to take this piece. You're going to take these two pieces and this piece, and that's what's going to cut out the lavender piece for this card, okay? Thank you, Cynthia, for catching that. That was very helpful. I know, I'm glad when you guys catch it. I'm like, wait, what did I do there? So just bear in mind, if you do mess up, there isn't really I shouldn't say mess up. It's basically, you can always kind of reconfigure it pretty easily. The way that it opens and how you see it is just going to be a tad differently, which only you will know about. So there's not necessarily a right or wrong, and that's largely because the dies are so versatile. So here you have the base for that shaker. Now, for the next piece, I pre-did this so that it had time to dry, but I glued a piece of clear cardstock behind this piece, and then I layered this foam tape on top. So if you're doing a shaker, just make sure that this foam is sealed so that when you do this at home that you don't have any leak in your fish tank, right? I call shaker cards fish tanks because you can easily get a leak if you don't put the foam strips tightly together. If you don't have great foam strips, these are very narrow. We sell them on the website. I love this brand. I love this kind. Super easy to use and very narrow for dies like this. I'm going to add just a little bit of prills in the center. You can choose what you love in the center of this, but we're just going to dump a little bit in there. And while that is just hanging out in the middle, I didn't do a super lot right now, but you could add a little bit more if you wanted to. Just go ahead and lock those prills in place. And you have a see-through shaker card, okay? So love how that turns out. See how that just shakes together? Now you can choose how you continue to do this. So you can open this up, and this, so on the original card, this was in the center. So if you have your fold on the left, it will be on the center. If you have your fold on the right, it'll be on this side that you're working on next. So you'll go ahead and just cut out an outline with the Elegant Squirrel Gateway die using the largest piece, and you'll put this in the center. And then the sentiment, you can stamp that. That was released on a Black Friday as well. You can stamp that, and you can cut it out with this center die, and then you can just glue this. So when you glue this, I like to put glue in the back of this. So you can stamp first, then die cut it out, or whichever works the best for you. So you can see where this window is in the back. So I have my glue facing me, and I'm going to just line that up with the window. And then I'm going to close this onto the opposite side so that is lined up, okay? So that just closes that in place. And then you can see that we still see that foam strips on this side. So that is where you'll take a lavender piece of cardstock and you'll just cut it out with this piece, and you'll layer that right on top. So we'll just go ahead and glue this right into place. So what is this? Is this card number 3? Yep. I'm trying to keep on top of making sure. So you'll go ahead and glue that. Then you can close it. You can have your sentiment in there, which is super pretty. And then on the opposite side, now here's where if you did it like I did, you'll want to also decorate both of these. Now on this one, since this was just decorating 3 sides like this, you would have just had one side. So you can decorate it however you want. So you can layer this together different ways. I just did the lavender piece. You could do it in the same way on both of these panels if you wanted to. Oops, I just had one that just fell to the floor. Just wanted to escape. It's like, don't glue me down. So you're going to go ahead and cut out a lavender piece with the largest die. Layer that on this side. If you wanted to, you could do a matching one on the opposite side. Then you're going to go ahead and cut out an orange with just the frame. Just go ahead and layer that on top. And then you can cut out one of these in white, which is basically just using this piece in the center paired with this piece, which will get this cut. And then if you want this outline, you'll do another lavender piece, and that will just go ahead and outline that, right? So I'll bring this card up so you can see that more closer in person, so then you can decorate it with flowers. You can have that sentiment stamped, and you can just do some fun things with that, and then that just closes. So as far as the mine is different because of the way we folded that together. So mine, the fold is on this side. We didn't stamp the sentiment in here yet, so you want to make sure you do that, and you can do that before or after, whichever works best for you. So we're going to shift gears a little bit and move on to card number 4. Card number 4, I love the simplicity of this one. While you look at this, I'm just going to move some papers so that I don't get a whole pile of a big mess in front of me as we go through. Cindy, you say, love card number 3. Shaker cards are so fun. I know. We're going to do another one a little bit later. I love how the different shakers turn out and how those work. So card number 4. This one is very elegant, very simple. It's an all occasion card. Love how this one layers together using the same die, but no shaker this time. So for this one, what you'll want to do is take your card base, and it's a pretty simple way to layer this together using very similar techniques to what we did in die cutting the other one. So we'll just go ahead and show you how those pieces are put together. So for this one, what you'll go ahead and do is just pull this die in. When you're working with these dies, top tip, I would keep the pieces all together when you're not using them so that you can easily see how they fit together. That is way less confusing. And also make sure that if you don't have our magnetic storage panels, that is a great thing to use when you're working with these. So with this one, you're going to start out with the base, which looks like this, using the outline die. So just the very outer piece, you're going to go ahead and layer that. And then once you have added that, you're going to cut out just exactly how we did that one die that I was showing how to die cut earlier. You'll put that one on top. So that is just using this piece, and see how that leaves that opening intact, so that does not cut anything out. And then you can go back and layer your other pieces. So you'll cut a green section out with this. You'll layer this in the middle. So this one just comes together very quickly, and this is such an elegant, versatile way to create those. Jeanette, you said, which color ink have you used for the orange flowers? You know, this one, let's see. This one was on the blog on November 27th, so if you want to check on that blog, that will also show like the exact ink color. So if you want to double check that, or you can also send an email because I am not exactly sure on that ink color at the moment. So if you want to double check that, that would be great. So you have that. So this is the basic layering. And then you can go ahead and just take, this is from the Wild Rose paper, take that window, and it kind of has that similar arch, just cut that out. And that will just get layered just right in the center. See how perfect that looks? Then you can add your flowers on top, and you're good to go. So the inside is very similar, except you're going to add a sentiment you won't add the decorative die in the center like we did on this one. And then this one is the exact same process, except we did a straight edge on the outer edge instead of that scalloped edge. So you can kind of pick and choose how you want to finish layering that up, but very same process with that one. So that is all on that one. So with this one, that's a very simple design, very elegant and quick and easy to put together. Lots of different color schemes on that, right? So with that one, I like the simplicity, but you can also do different themes, different occasions. So the next one is this card number 5? Card number 5. Yes. Okay, so I'll bring this one out. Are you having fun yet? I love this one too. So you can see we did a lot with this specific die. This one has another opening, so I just want to show you this up close. So see how this one has that opening cut into the actual card base, and then we have this folded over, then it opens up like this. So this is like just like a little wonderland. So we'll just close that up and we'll get started with this one. So this one will have a cut in the center of the card, just like we did on the other one to start out with. So you will do that first. We're still using the Elegant Swirl Gateway die, so I'll go ahead. And for this one, I just want to make sure again that I fold my card first in the way that we want it. So the fold is on the left, and then there's also a fold on the right, so it kind of folds together like this, okay? Does that make sense? Jacqueline, you said you love this class. Evelina, you said amazing card. Thank you, friend. Cynthia, you said, how do you keep the flowers in the folded pages from getting smashed? Do you add foam strips? Great question. If you add flowers in the pages that are, being folded together, you'll want to keep those pretty flat if you want to mail them, or if you're just hand giving it, it's something that can stand up, so it's not so much a completely closed card. So you'll see like this card, we only have flowers in the front because we wanted it to completely close. As we go through, there's some more cards, they don't close completely. It's more like a tri-fold card that just sets up something like this, just sits kind of in a stand like that. So this one, if you want it to completely close, you do not put any flowers on the inside. So great question, I'm glad you asked that. So with this, I'm going to go ahead and again, just put this in the center, and we'll tape this down. Just again, kind of, if you're like, oh my goodness, is this really in the center? What you can do to kind of help you is if you have this cut out, you can kind of put this on the top and see how that lines up. So I'm like, okay, that looks good. And I'll just tape it into the card base, okay? So again, if you have a small machine, you'll just put your card and fold it on top when you're running it through. But since I have the cut and emboss, I'm going to run that through. And while that's running through, I will have you take a look at this card. I'll lay that right there so you can see that. So we'll run this through, we'll cut that out, and then that will pop out right on the other side. So for this one, we did add decorations, the same ones on opposite sides. So with that, that just makes it comes together very quickly, very beautifully. And then we also have a cut on the inside as well. Okay, so we have a cut on the other side as well. So you basically have a die cut piece on both sides, right? So we're going to go ahead and do that right away. So I have one on this side, and then we're going to do one on the opposite side as well. So it's amazing when you just kind of use your creativity, how many different ways that you can really bring these together to create openings and all that fun stuff. So I'm just going to put this in my plate again, and we'll cut the other side out. Donna, you say great class for, I'm going to pull this up so you can see how this looks on the inside. Donna, you say great class, learning the basics of these dies is a great help from a great, oh, thank you. And Lorna, you said great tip to center the center opening. Yes. That is a fun way to center that because those dies kind of mix and match, so it's pretty easy to do that. So we'll pull this out, remove the tape, and put that die back into place. When I'm working with these, I definitely try to always do that. Otherwise, I get myself in trouble and can't find pieces or forget which ones go on top of each other. Does that happen to you? Jan, you said, is there a list of flowers, dies used for each card? On this class, we do not have a list of the flowers used for each card. We are just focusing on the die cuts in this class. However, each of these cards have been featured on the blogs since the release on Black Friday. So if you want to go back onto the blog and see those, you can definitely look at those. The one I'm working on right now is the Classic Rose. That's a really pretty one with this one. So again, if you are die cutting on both ends, you're running it through your machine, just go back and verify your folds. So you have this one coming in, so you have a fold on the right and you have a fold on the left, okay? So go ahead and cut out your 2 of these using the large die on the outside edge. And then you'll go ahead and use this die for the opening. You can run both of them through at once. Just put them down, run them through. And since you're using thin paper and this is not an intricate die, you could probably cut out both layers at once as well, which is a great tip. If you're cutting out with just our pattern papers and it's just kind of a basic shape, you can do 2 at once. So some of these we are needing 2, which will save you some time when you're doing that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue this on top. So this is a white piece that I just took this die. So we're using this one and this one. We're cutting out 2 of these as well. Okay, so Geraldine, you said your instruction is taking the overwhelmingness of this die, and I feel like I could put together a card easily. Yes, and I feel too like when you see the repetition of one die being used over and over and over, it's like it builds that confidence of like, okay, yes, I can do this. So yes, as you're having those aha moments, let me know and tell me what's helping you. But I so agree with you, because sometimes when you open up a die pack and you're just like, oh my goodness, this is beautiful, and I know that there's so much versatility, but it's just like you feel like your finger's going to get spanked when you run them through, right? Like, okay. So I oftentimes describe the online classes like a Google Maps. It really takes you from a starting point and guides you through step by step on how you can finish and make a beautiful project. So congratulations for signing up for the class. It's just a great way to learn those techniques the easy way and build that confidence so that you can really have fun using the projects that you want to make. Okay, so we're going to go ahead, and so that is the simplicity of just decorating this, okay? So very quick, very easy. And that is all done for the front. And then we just layered these flowers over the corner. You can see how the back is colored in green so that it still looks pretty on both sides. Who would have thought, right? So then for the back panel, this one, you're going to take a little bit of a different die. So this is, let me pull up the Scallop Flourish Gateway die. I'm trying to make sure I show you each die. So it's the scallop from this set you're going to use to cut the outline. So you can mix and match these dies, which is the beauty of this. So this is just kind of like an opening. It really reminds me of so pretty. It's so pretty how this comes together. So you'll see how that looks on the inside then. So different ways to do that. So cut this out with a scallop from the Scallop Flourish Gateway die, and then pair the inside you'll cut out with this piece from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. So we're going to go ahead, and so this is the back panel folded in, and we're going to go ahead and just layer this on top. Perfecto. I moved it a little bit to the side. There we go. Okay, so now for this centerpiece, you're going to go ahead and you're going to glue 2 pieces together. That comes from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die, just cutting out the centerpiece. And when you are cutting this one out, just make sure that you cut these 2 out at one time. So you're going to go ahead. You see how that looks? I love how that turns out. So With this one, you will glue these two together. So let's go ahead and do that. And you will glue the raw die sides. So you kind of have like that front and back. So I'll do this. Okay. And then for this side, we just have this white piece that we'll put in the center. And then we'll have that. So we'll go ahead and do this one as well. So let's go ahead and do the inside piece, okay? And you know what? Let's see here. Where is this one? Here we go. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and glue the inside piece to this as well. And just like that. This is just kind of a little bit of a light green piece, that opening. And then we're going to go ahead and glue this one on top. So just go ahead and have some fun recreating with these so that you can have some fun layering these together. Okay. I'm trying to glue and look at your comments at the same time. Does that work for you? Karen, you said what flower is on this card? So here we go. So, Julia, you said the PDF guide did not include information on which die to use with the white pieces. So the white pieces, we added some die cuts, but the white pieces are basically anything I'm showing in white. If you want to just cut the pieces as you're doing it, it just needs to be a little bit bigger than the die that I have in white here. So, so you can go ahead and we have this one and glue this on the inside. Okay. So we'll have so, and then this one has this in the center here. You see this? Okay. So we'll glue these two back to back. But before we do that, I missed one step, I see. Okay, so clear cardstock. Let's bring some clear cardstock into the rescue here. I missed putting some clear cardstock in here, so please forgive me for that. I'm just grabbing a piece here. Like, wait a minute. And the reason you want a clear cardstock is just to hold this window up and intact here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this piece off really quickly here. So we have a clear window piece in here. So if you make a mistake like I do, it's okay. You can pull it off, especially if you're using a dry clear glue. And we're just going to glue this clear window in the center. Here we go. There we go. And then we're going to do the same thing we did for one of the shaker cards. Remember one of the shaker cards? Let's see, where did I put my scissors? My scissors went on a, oh, I think I left it in the drawer when I was cutting that clear cardstock. There we go. So we'll just go ahead and clip that corner off again. Okay. Then you can go ahead and just glue this back on. So if you're kind of like, wait, why were we doing that clear cardstock? The clear cardstock is just in there as that clear base to help glue the pieces in the center in, to help put those together or hold it there so it's kind of like that, gives that clear opening. Okay, here we go. That's the beauty of a live class. If I make a mistake, you get to see how I fix it, right? Okay, so here we go. Now you're going to be able to, let's see, let's glue this one in. So you'll glue this down. Oops. Let's pull this up. Okay, here we go. So this one goes on this side. No, this one goes on the opposite side. Okay. Hold on just a second. I know I'm going a little bit slow right now. So we have this green piece on the inside. We're going to flip this back over. We have this piece that's going to go on this side right here. And then go ahead and just add a little bit of glue in the corners and on the top here. We're going to glue this in here like that. And that clear cardstock holds that into place. Okay, so that's why we have that clear window. Flip this around and we're going to glue this purple piece on the back. Okay, does that make sense, or did I lose anybody on this one? Somebody said, are we still on card 5? I can probably tell you in just a little bit on which card. Let's see. Yes, we are on card 5. Yep, you got it. So then in the center, what we have is the outline of the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. You'll go ahead and layer a piece of green. So that is just using this die, cutting that green piece out, using a white piece of cardstock, gluing this together, and then you can go ahead and layer this in the center. So when that folds together, you'll have this beautiful one-of-a-kind piece that just comes together like this. So you have that beautiful card. And then you'll have the flowers that you can choose if you want to glue those, how you want to do that. So you can have that coming in, and then we stamped a little "You Are Amazing Friend" in there. So isn't that fun? So we're going to go ahead and move to card number 6. This is using a die we have not talked about yet today. Do you know which one that is? We'll take a close-up look on this one. I love how this one turns out. So this one is a kind of a one and done. I love how quickly this one comes together. This is the Lattice Swirl Gateway die. Carolyn, you said the clear window idea is great. Yes, that's an idea that you can utilize anytime you want to have kind of that clear effect in there, but not a shaker card. So card number 6. With this one, we have this beautiful fold-out card that you can decorate however you want. The back, we just put some clear paper on the top, so you can always, not clear paper, pattern paper. That's just very basic, so you can always cover all sides if you wanted to. So that's what we chose to do with this one. Now, this die, very simple to use, very basic. Rosanna, you said, since there is a window in the middle, would it be better to glue the lace accent on the back and front instead of having a double layer? Yes, you could do either way with that. So when you're creating them, you can see kind of which one works better for you. Liz, you said, do you stamp the sentiment before you put or glue it down on the centerpiece? You can do either way. It really depends on your confidence in stamping. If you feel confident in stamping, you can do it after. Oftentimes, I like to wait until I know who I'm giving it to. But if you don't feel confident and you want to do it before you die cut out, totally do that. So you can totally do whatever works best for you. So for this one, when I'm going to lay the card out, so you can see how this one looks. Let's just pull it. So we'll just do a scan through here. So that is the front, left, center, and then the right side, okay? So for this front center, all you're going to do is take your card base and you're going to open it up. You're going to have, like for this one, you'll see that you have some flowers on the back and you have some flowers on the front. So if you wanted to, like one of you was asking about how that folds, you'll see that that has a little bit of a bubble in it when it folds, okay? So that is how that's going to look if you do add flowers on both sides when you're bringing them together. So for this one, what you're going to do is you're going to cut a base for this basket. And this die has 3 pieces, okay? So we have the outline piece, and that's what we used first, right underneath. So you're going to go ahead and cut this one out, and you'll layer this down. And then your basket piece is pretty simple. All you have to do is just go ahead and, oops, here we go. run this through on white cardstock using this piece here. So you're just going to lay that down, run that through. And once that's cut out, you can just go ahead and you can 3D it, or you can just glue it straight down on your piece of paper, whichever works best for you. Totally up to you. It doesn't matter. I like a little bit of dimension. I think it gives a little bit of dimension in between, like the sentiment. Then this is the piece that I find is very easy to do. You'll just use the sentiment set that's in the center, and you'll cut this out once with just a piece of paper. So that gives you just the outline. And you can do that with the basket die, so that just cuts out that outline. So you'll want to go, what you can do, let me see, if you just have a small piece of paper like this, and you just put the basket die on top like that, that creates that background piece, right? So that's how we did that. You just have a little piece that's a little bit bigger, and you can do that in any color that you prefer to do. So that's what's going to go in here next. So we'll layer that piece down. And then you have this die that cuts out the thinking of you. And you can run that through with the basket die. And actually, when you do the basket die, that can be run through with that. That'll cut out the outline. And you have this piece. So when you're doing the white piece, you can totally add your sentiment and just lay that in if you want a white sentiment piece cut out, and run that all through at one time. So that is how I did this outer piece. And then you can just, this one was the wild rose. Just went ahead and decorated that along the sides. And then for the next set, what I did is I used from the scalloped flourish die. So I mixed this one and I used the two outer edges of this die and layer those together to create, oh, I love this cottage. We have a countryside cottage stamp and die set that's coming out. It's our first collection of January. I'm so excited. It's a 4 seasons cottage. I can't wait for that one to come out. I've been having fun playing with that. But then for the very last panel, what you're going to do is you're just going to, again, from the scallop flourish die, have that outline cut out. Just put that on the side. And then take your basket die, cut that out, and this piece will automatically be cut out for you. So you can go ahead and just lay that on top. You can stamp a sentiment in the center, and that is all completed for you. So that is the basics of this one. And I'll go ahead and show you that card base one more time so you can see how quickly and easily that is done. Liz, you said Heartfelt used to sell clear boxes to mail cards like this, and yes, we do. We have the clear boxes, which are great for mailing. I'm guessing somebody asked about a mailing question. Okay, so let's take one more close up, and there we go. So when this one folds, we folded it up like this. So your first fold is on the right and the other fold is on the left on this card. So does anybody remember which card number this was? This was card number 6, and we're ready for card number 7. Now, as you're watching today, we like to have classes that are jam-packed full with lots of techniques, and today we are learning over 15 techniques on how to use these dies, right? Now, we typically allow a 2-hour slot, but today we're going to go over a little bit, so hopefully you don't have to be anywhere right after, but if you do, you can always go back and finish watching it. But before we get to our next card, I wanted to share something as a thank you for watching today. We have a special promotion for you, and you get a pack of free gold cardstock, our Luxe Gold cardstock, with a $50 purchase. All you need to do is enter code 129857, and that does expire on January 9th. In a little bit, we'll be using a lot of gold cardstock, so that is something that you can grab if you've had some things on your wish list as well. So let's take a look at our next card. I love how this one is just, again, very elegant, super beautiful. This one's featuring the classic roses, and we have a die that is very similar to the very first one we were working with. Has a little bit different design on the inside, so it gives you some versatility, but it's great to mix and match. So this one is the Ornate Flourish die. And what I love about this is how it comes out to the outside of this card base and really gives a very ruffled edge. So I'm going to show you how you can layer these on top of each other to do the cutouts, and how to put this together. So when you think about this die, what I love about it is just you can add different color backgrounds, and you can do some really fun layering with that. So you'll see there's green, there's dark, kind of like a magenta mauve color in there. So when you go to layer this together, there's a couple different things you're going to do. So this is the first cut you're going to make, okay? This one's pretty easy. This is using the Ornate Flourish Gateway die. All you're going to do is you are going to grab the second largest and the largest die. You're going to layer these down, and then you're also going to grab the third die in there, and you're going to layer these down and cut all of these out at one time. I'm going to pick this up so you can see that a little bit closer. So that's what you're going to do. And then once that's cut out, you will have a piece that's cut like this. Isn't that perfect? I love how that works. So that is how you're going to make and sandwich those together. You are going to do a total of 2 of those. So you're going to be doing a total of 2 of those, and that one will nestle on the front panel and one's going to nestle on the back panel. So I'm going to bring out a card base and lay those out so you can see how that stuff will layer together. Is it helpful to see how they layer together like that? Let me see here. Okay, so I'm going to just bring this out. I'm going to lay my card flat. We're just going to decorate on the one side, so that makes it super easy, and then you can flip and fold it as well. So we're going to take a close-up look at how this gets layered together. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to lay this down, and then we have this piece that I cut out. Now for these, if you are cutting these out, you can mix and match from different sets if you wanted to, but I took, for the front, we're going to use this one and this one. Okay, so if you just want just this centerpiece, take a piece of cardstock that's just a little bit bigger than this piece in the middle, run it through on the center, have this piece cut out, and that's what's going to lay right here in the middle of the card. And then you'll do the very same thing for the top. And that's the difference between this one, some of the pieces are together, versus that first die we used, these pieces were separate. The good thing is you don't have to spend as much time positioning, but if you're wanting to get these little layers, you'll need to cut smaller pieces. So cut a small piece of cardstock and run it through and get that top piece. If you're not concerned about, how do I want to say, like, wasting, or I shouldn't say wasting, you could also, if you wanted to go into the other die and just cut out from that piece, you could grab that one too. So totally up to you which way you want to do that, but you can do either way. So then we do the same thing for the bottom. So you can get that cut out of just using paper to cover the bottom here, or you can grab the other die from the let's see, from the Scallop Flourish Gateway die. Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and then you're going to layer these pieces on top. So for these pieces, I glued 2 on top of each other, so you can go ahead and just do that. So that gives a little bit of dimension. It's totally up to you. But if you have 2 die cut pieces glued together, that gives just a little bit of dimension, kind of like foam, except it's not your actual foam. You'll just, and when you do those 2 pieces together, I'm just going to do just a quick glue there, but you'll just go ahead and glue those 2 and layer that in the center. And that is just by going, and those pieces were cut out with just taking the center, using this outline die, taking the center, putting this in, putting the top in. Let me lay this on my piece of cardstock and bring this in here so you can see that. Here we go, like this. So put this in the top and then bring this in the bottom, and that will cut out those white pieces like you saw there. You'll do the very same thing for the base piece in the back here. So you're basically doing 2 sets of 2, except here it's reversed. The green is on the bottom and top, and then the magenta is in the center. So that is a really great way to do that. So then the center here, all we did, this is just a fun way to make a very elegant statement with your sentiment. So all you have to do is just use the die outline border from, using two dies here. You're using the Ornate Flourish Gateway, using the two outer pieces, and then you can go ahead and use this piece. It's the third largest piece in the Scallop Flourish Gateway. Cut out that center, and that's going to cut this out for you as well. Just layer that in the center of your card, and that is going to give you that center piece that you can stamp your sentiment on as well, which is a great way to just really quickly decorate that. And just kind of keep that in mind for any card base that you want to add a little bit of elegance, dimension, but it's kind of keep it simple. That is just a great way to do that. Cheryl, you say, great, I needed more gold paper and white cardstock. Yes, right. I was thinking about, okay, what kind of savings could we add for this class that would be helpful? I always try to think that through, and I'm like, you know, I have a stinking suspicion that many of us used up all our gold paper for this class, and I don't know about you, but I go through my gold paper like crazy. So yes, so if you just join and you missed that, you get free gold cardstock pack with a $50 purchase. Just enter code 129857. And hey, just before I move on to the next card, one thing that I just thought about is today our limited edition items are going and will be gone forever at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Some of them are up to 70% off. So if there's anything in there, especially like papers and items that you need to fill out a collection, make sure you grab those. Great savings on that, but they will be gone at midnight Eastern Standard Time tonight. So this is, let's take one more look at this, and while you're looking at that, I need to switch out baskets because we have a whole nother basket filled with amazing goodies that I think that you're gonna love. So let's take a close-up look one more time at this beautiful card, and I'll do a swapperoo on my baskets, and we'll have another whole basket full of beautiful projects that we're going to learn how to create. So tell me, how has this class been so far for you? Is it what you expected? Let me know if you have questions about anything. And we just completed card number 7, which is a great, I just love how this one comes together. Now, a lot of the cards I was just doing have been featuring the classic rose. The next one has that on as well. As you can see, we might have just really loved using this card for this class and with these gateway dies. So this one is a very similar card, but it is using kind of a mix and match of some of these dies. So you'll see that the basket is on the inside, and then you'll see how this was pretty similar to what we did on the last card with the sentiment, except it arches on the top. So I'll show you how this looks. Now, what's really unique about this and versatile about this one is the way we used this die to cut this piece out. So we are using, going back to the very first die that we had been using for card number 1, using the Scallop Flourish Gateway, okay? So with this one, you're going to be doing a couple different steps to create this piece. So that's the piece we're going to look at first. So with this one, we have a piece that is all connected, okay? So this is what makes this die so versatile, is that with so many pieces, you can pick and you can mix and you can match it. So what you're gonna do is you're going to grab a white piece of cardstock, and you're going to grab the third largest die in this set. I'm gonna bring this in so you can see which one I'm picking off of this plate. So it's the third one. You are going to grab that one, just lay it down. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and just tack it into place at one point so that kind of holds its place. And then we're going to go ahead and start layering some dies in there, okay? So with this one, we have 3 pieces that are going to go in the middle plus 2 stitched pieces. So this is a really fun way. So that keeps it in the paper. It doesn't cut out of the paper because we're not using the outlines that typically follow this exactly on the outline, right? So we're going to push this up. We're going to create a little bit of space for the stitching pieces. You're going to go ahead and add the stitching pieces in the center here. And then once you've done that, you can then focus on lining it up, taping it down, and then you'll just run that through and cut it out. So when you cut it, line it up, I just kind of start in one area. The stitch pieces are a little bit longer than the rest of these pieces, so you can just kind of, you know, make those symmetrical on both sides. Just tape it down and you are good to go. Does that make sense? And that will cut out this piece right here. Lorna, you said you're finding the class very helpful. You love the dies, but there's so many pieces. Yes, that's the thing, that with lots of pieces, do we want to say lots of pieces equal lots of responsibility? No, it is just breaking it down and showing you like step by step, like pull this piece out. And that's why I say that the online classes are similar to like a GPS, where I show you from start to finish, like, okay, pull this piece, pull this piece. And while you're doing that, my hope is that that will build the confidence that you start to kind of get a little bit of muscle memory on what each die does, so that you have the confidence when you're creating with that, because they are so quick and easy when you are creating with these. So what you'll do next is just use a scallop from that very same die set, layer this piece on top, and you have that beautiful one-of-a-kind piece that you can just layer. If you want to take this piece, I just did a green piece using the center background die. So actually, hang on a second. It is using, it's a little bit bigger than this one. So it is using, I grabbed the wrong one. Well, okay, I'm just going to show you can use this one, right? Okay, so you can use this one. This one's a little bit simpler because the other way to do it is a little bit more difficult. But what that's going to do is that's going to give you that background right behind that. If you want to do a bigger one like that, all that's going to do is just add a little bit of green behind the dots. And the way you do that, it's a little bit more complicated, but you can do it. That is just taking this die, and then you're also going to take the top and bottom piece, and you're just going to give a little bit of space in there, right? You don't, it's up to you. You can just do this and just give it, you know, you can do that as well. So if I were you, I would keep it super simple, and I would just use this one and just add the green behind the space you see the most. Does that make sense? Okay, so that one, you can put the green behind it. You can 3D this on top, and then you can add your beautiful one-of-a-kind flowers on the top there, and you are good to go. For the center on this, we use the basket die. We use the green outline. Now, here's something that we did on this one that I would not recommend unless you are a crafter that loves to take lots of time. You have the ability to take really fine die cut pieces and line them up straight and glue them down. The thinking of you, we do have the ability to take those pieces that are cut out and layer them in individually. However, if I were you, I would just take the actual die and use the outline like we did on our previous card versus gluing them in individually. But that is up to you if you feel up to the challenge. So you'll just go ahead and layer this on top, and you have that for the center. And then the outline piece on the edge is using the scallop from the Scallop Flourish Gateway set. You're just going to go ahead and use the scallop and then the next size in. You're going to go ahead and layer this down. And then when you have those pieces, let me bring this die up again so you can see this. You're going to take this piece from the top. You're going to use both sides to cut out the white. And you're going to also just use the outside edge for the green. And then you're going to grab the bottom piece, and you're going to cut this out with the white using the outline die, both of them. And then you're also going to use just the outside edge to do this. And when you layer those together, you're going to bring this green in, put that on the bottom. And when you do that, just add a little bit of glue, bend that, and that kind of creates a little bit of a pocket, okay? So just kind of glue the outer edges. So you have a little bit of an opening in here. Now you're not going to use it as a pocket, but it just kind of edges it and gives it a little bit of shadow. Now you could always add a little pop dot in the middle here and then just glue it down on the edges if you wanted to as well, whichever one is easiest for you. So Cynthia, you said So I think somebody said a great idea for matching the dies. You know, if you ever like mismatch something, you can always look on the back of the packaging as well on where something comes from. But yes, I do like to be very conscious of when they come together, but they also kind of fit together like a puzzle. So some of the pieces won't fit together if you accidentally put the wrong one in, right? Okay, so I'm going to switch gears and we're going to do a little fun basket card. This one is cutting the shape of the card, and we're going to be using some vellum. Let me put these little pieces. That's why I'm really keeping, like when you talk about not mixing them up, I'm trying to make sure that I have these dies in front. When I pick one up, I put it back, right? Put it back with its friends. Okay, so this is card number. Does anybody remember which card number we're going on? Thankfully, I have them marked on the back, so I remember. Okay, so this one is card number 9. Okay, do you love this card? This one is totally made from scratch. No card base, pre-made card base on this one. So for this, we're going to do a cutout, okay? So you're going to use a vellum. If you don't have our vellum, the Rajni Chawla vellum, this is a really great vellum I love to use. So you are going to start out by taking a vellum, folding it in half, and using the outline die from the Lattice Swirl Gateway. You're going to go ahead and you're going to tape that onto your vellum. Now, when you're doing this, you could totally do this on cardstock, but just make sure that there's a little bit of an edge so that it does not cut the vellum through. We're going to run this through our machine. I need to, okay, there we go. And so we're going to run that through and we're going to cut this out of vellum. So here we go. Yes, you're so right, Cynthia. Not all of, okay, I forgot about that. Yes. So when you look at these pieces, so the one with 11 pieces, if you focus on looking at the design so you don't mix it up with the other one in the design, that's going to be the easiest for you. But as far as these little guys, these can cut out both of the sets, which is the set, let's see, Ornate Flourish Gateway die, right? So it's just they're a little bit different in the way that you can use them. So if they fit, you can mix and match, right? Okay, so here we go. So this is what's going to be our card base, right? So we have the vellum connected here. Have you ever done like a vellum card base? Now, we are using cardstock to make this sturdy. So we have cardstock on the back and we have cardstock on the front. So these pieces, very simple to cut out. We have this piece, which is just the outline. And we're going to go ahead, I'm going to glue this so that you can see how that looks. And I'm just going to do a little bit of gluing in the center. And we're going to add this to the outside back of this card, okay? Now you notice that I just put glue on the center. And I did that because we're going to cover that up with this gold piece. So this is using the inside cut from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. And then that makes your inside piece, right? And the other pieces, you can layer these together however you want, but the sturdiness is layering these together on the outside. So for this one, this is using the gold cardstock. So you can go ahead and glue this first basket. We're using multiples. It's up to you how many you actually want to use. The more you use, the more sturdy it is. So you can really choose how many you use. But I used 2 white pieces on this one. So you can go ahead and glue this piece down first. And then you can go ahead and cut out a piece. When you do this one, this piece will come out of the center there. So you can just go ahead and glue this in the middle. So that will give you that gold background, so that will highlight the words. So remember how I said I wouldn't recommend piecing all those words? I like to use more like a dark background and make that pop up. So you can just go ahead and cut out that piece from a cream colored cardstock, or if you wanted to do it from vellum, you could even do it from vellum too. Now the next step, we're going to go ahead and we're going to glue this gold and offset it a little bit. And that gives you just a little hint of gold. I don't know if you can see that very well. I'm going to hold this for a little bit and we're going to just make sure you can see that. Okay, so yeah, there we see. Okay. So this one is, one of you asked a great question about how you can, if you don't have the cards, if I could show you how to cut one. Let's see. Yes, at the end, remind me and I will do that. Okay, so with this one, you can then just go ahead and add foam dots in the back, layer this on top, and you have that beautiful dimensional shaped card. And actually, Virginia, for what you said, let me see. So if you have, say this would be your fold card. I'm just going to act like these are 3 pieces that are solid like this. So if you can imagine, these are 3 pieces that are solid. Just cut yourself a cardstock. Now you'll obviously want to use a paper trimmer, make sure everything is squared. But what you're going to do is you're going to measure the length in between here and here. And I would do about 1 inch wide and fold it at about 1/2 inch. I'm just guesstimating. But what you're going to do is you're going to glue these together, right? So you're going to glue this piece like this, and then you're going to glue this piece together like this. Now obviously this is not solid, so just kind of forget about that, but that's how you're going to hinge that, right? So it's obviously more work, but if you have time and you don't mind doing that, you can totally do that. So then you'll just want to make sure that everything is squared up here. So that's something you'd want to watch for. And obviously I just cut kind of raw there, but and then you do the same thing on this side and you'd have those pieces together. Does that make sense? And you could also, yes, Karen, you said we sell a hinge set. Yes, you could do decorative hinges too. I just did a straight strip of cardstock, but you could totally do decorative hinges and do it that way as well. So let's take another look at this vellum card, and then we will move on to card number, this one says number 9. How did we get to number 9 already, right? Okay, so that is how the inside looks. You could add a little decorative piece on top of this as well then. So number 10. Ah, this one is so beautiful. I love the colors from the Floral Shop paper. Do you love those as well? Okay, so this one, so one of you said, putting this out there again, would it be possible to get slower screenshots of all the cards so we can see front and back of each? So when I lay them out, when you are re-watching them, what you can do is just hit the pause button and you're going to be able to see that screen for as long as you want. So that's just a top tip. When I, like right now, if I lay this out on the table, when you are re-watching this, you can just hit the pause button and you'll be able to freeze that screen so you can see exactly where everything is placed with those then. So with this, we have, again, this one is just decorated on one side. So if you just open this up, this one is a pretty simple way to put this together, but what's very unique about this is how it uses multiple different dies and how it has these as pockets for tags. So these 2 pieces are decorated very similarly, and then this one is your card front. So we're going to lay this in here and we'll show you how we layer this together and which dies that those came out for that. Shirley, you said, how about cutting 2 folded pieces using the arch die, gluing 2 arch pieces together? Yes, you could do that as well. So there's, like, I love seeing your ideas because you can totally, you know, there's multiple different ways that you could do that. So for this one, we are using, we're back to using the Elegant Swirl Gateway die again. Isn't this fun? Love how this one looks. So you're going to use the floral shop paper, and you're going to cut out 3 of this total. So you're going to layer this on a piece of cardstock. You'll cut 3 from pattern paper, 3 from plain cardstock. You'll layer this down on the first piece. Then you're going to take kind of in the PDF, it'll tell you which pages to cut these from, by the way. But I layer this on top. It gives it just a little bit of dimension when you're layering it down on the card. That is totally optional, totally up to you if you want to do it that way. So this one I have the gold glued down. It's like, I want to stick onto it. This one is the back one, so that one gets glued down. Now again, like I was showing, this has the gold in the background already. We'll get a close-up look of this. So it just kind of gives a shadowed mirror look. The blue flowers is very nice, Jeanette said. So like, okay, see that? So here we go. So Barbara, if you are having issues with what you're seeing, go ahead and contact our customer care team, and they can step through so that you can get what you're looking for on those. So hopefully that will be helpful for you. So with this one, you're going to be able to use let's see, pull up this die. Where did I put it? I'm like thinking, okay, here it is. I'm like, wait, where did it go? The Elegant Swirl Gateway die, you'll use the decorative frame, and you'll cut it out of the white and gold. You'll do that 3 times on white and gold, so that you have that cut for each panel. So just go ahead and glue that, and then you'll layer that on the front piece. You could do that with foam dots if you wanted to add a little bit more dimension, totally up to you. And then we went back and we added this gold piece in the center. I would add some foam dots behind the gold piece to just elevate this a little bit. And this is the center of the Elegant Swirl Gateway die as well. And then once you have that done, you can go ahead and add this as the topper for this. So this one is kind of a multi-piece one. So we have, let me pull this one in. This is from the first die that we used today. Does anybody remember the name of this one? You'll have the names memorized by the time we're done. The Scalloped Flourish Gateway die. So cut out this base piece with white, and then you'll use these 2 pieces and cut one out in gold and in white. And then what you're going to do is glue the white decorative piece with the gold decorative piece, and just kind of offset that a little bit. And then you can go ahead and add some 3D foam dots, or just layer that right on top. Add those foam dots, and you can layer this right on top of that. See that? So you can go ahead and layer that. So you can really kind of mix and match these dies. Wanelda, you said those wild asters are pretty. You said you've had the worst making those flowers. I actually did a class last month on how to make wild asters. It was like a big altered project, so that's something you might want to take a look at. I'm just going to pull the main card in again. Then you're going to be able to see that how that wild asters were paired on top of that with some cascading fuchsias. Now on the rest of the card, just go ahead and use the bottom piece and layer it on. It's the same technique as we did for that first one, using the bottom piece of that die. So you'll cut the base out in white, which creates this piece, and then you'll cut, you'll cut this piece out, both of them, one in white and one in gold, and you'll layer those together. So you'll glue these together, and you'll just offset this a little bit. But if you love gold and you just want to have gold on top, go for it. Like, you can totally like mix and match this and get completely different looks. But that's what we used for this one, is just offset that a little bit. I think it's a little bit harder to see it on camera, but you'll see that just kind of an elegant, soft glow to that. And then you'll go ahead and glue that to the last 2 panels of this card. And then when this one folds shut, this one has the fold. The first fold is on your right. The last fold is on your left. Cynthia, you said, so pretty. Love all the cards. Lynn, you said you got to go. Thank you so much for watching. We will catch you on the rerun later. So we're going to go and take another close-up look on this, and then we'll go ahead and go to, what card are we on? Are we on, oh, we're getting ready for card and number 11. Roberta said this is so stinking pretty, right? Do you have a favorite so far? I just love, Sharon, you said, where did the blue pretty paper come from? This is all from the Floral Shop collection. If you missed that collection, that one is such a pretty one that released in December. So let's see. I have, oh, I was going to say I mixed up a card the way I put it in. Okay, this next one, super elegant, very pretty. Okay, let me straighten up my little basket for a hot second. I messed it up a little bit. I'm trying to keep my little ducks in a row here. So tell me what this class has helped you with so far on these dies. I know it's a lot of information, so if you feel a little bit information overload, just remember you can watch it, you can pace it. What I would actually recommend is that you do one card at a time. There's going to be over 15 techniques in this class. So hey, what about like, you know, doing 4 different ones in a month and just keep your creativity going on that? Because I find that when you repeat, repetitive helps build memory of like, oh yes, I can do so and so with that. So okay, Maggie, you said this card is not in the gallery. Were you talking about the last one? Let's see, this one is featured, should have been featured on December 16th on the blog. But if you don't see that yet, you can also contact our customer care team and we can help find that for you. Okay, so for this one is another card that has that beautiful, just really see-through effect. So a similar technique to what we had done on the other one. So you can go ahead and just have some fun putting this one together. One of you had said, what about putting the decorative piece on either side? So I'll show you how you can do that if you wanted to do it a little bit differently, but I'm going to show you this from the front view. This card is a very dimensional, kind of like what I call a showcase card. So this one's like your coffee table card, and it's one that has those flowers hanging down, so it's more like a stand-up card that you can add your photo in the center. So we'll take a look at this one. So we'll do a close-up of this, and this one has, let's see, we have a lot of the same cutout. While we are taking a look at this, I'm going to do a cut on this one, the center opening. For this center opening, I'm going to just use this one right here, and we're going to do a cut on opposite ends, just the exact same way. So this die comes from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. It's the second to the smallest one. Just going to go ahead and use the eyeballing technique, or if you're having issues with lining it up, again, you can always go back and you can use like this piece right here, lay it on top, and just make sure that it looks centered to you. So you can totally do that if it kind of freaks you out to just use the eyeballing technique. So while I run that through, I'm just going to pull this up so you can look at that. Actually, I'm going to tape this down at the bottom as well, just so that that does not move while I'm running it through my machine. Okay, so while that's going through, I'm going to show you a couple of these dies. So you're going to cut out quite a lot of the same ones. This was using the outside of that die, and the inside one I'm using for the card base. We are using clear cardstock again on this one to create that clear window. So again, this is just kind of a reinforcement of what you can do when you are creating this card. So flip it to the other side. There is not really a right or wrong way to cut this out, because both sides will be covered, so you won't see raw edges of the die cut, in case you're like, okay, you know, is there something that's going to be showing, okay? So we're going to run that through. And then the first thing that we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to decorate the inside. So just remember, the inside is what we're going to focus on. The other side is what I consider more the back side, but we also added the white on this side as well. So you can kind of pick and choose if you wanted to do that, or if you wanted to just keep that as the back and just utilize the window and not do anything on the back. So totally up to you how you put that together. Shirley, you said this may be your favorite card so far. What are you loving about this card? I'm with you though. I love this card. I love how it's a very beautiful, just elegant, and really makes that centerpiece. So we're just going to focus on starting with the inside piece first. And let me find my clear cardstock. So when you're doing this, you can cut out the clear cardstock like I showed before, or you can use one of the arches that's a little bit bigger than this and kind of have that arch shape. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this one in. And just so that you don't forget to put the clear window in, like I did earlier, you might want to just go ahead and glue those in first, right? So if you wanted to do that, I have, this one is all glued already. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue this on this back piece right away. Okay, so this back piece is made the exact same way as the piece we're going to do right now. So we're going to go ahead and glue this piece in, which is you're using the largest piece plus that window that cuts the opening. We're going to put that down, and then we're going to go ahead and take one of these, which is using the swirl from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die, and cutting out the inside. I think you're going to get a lot of practice using this die in this class. So hopefully that die cutting technique was very helpful for you. And then just go ahead and use these two pieces. And when you are cutting these out, you can cut all of these out at one time if you want, but depending on the pressure of your machine, I just recommend cutting out that center decorative piece by itself. But you can kind of experiment with that. Darlene, you said this would make a beautiful wedding card. I know that I am missing so many of your comments. That makes me sad. I'm trying to keep my eyes on the screen. So if I missed your question, I'm not ignoring you. I am trying to, screen moves pretty quickly here. Trying to glue and see what you guys are saying. You guys are awesome. Sylvia, you said you just applied the discount code. It says I do not meet the requirements. So it is a free pack of cardstock with a $50 purchase. Enter code 129857. If your subtotal would need to be over $50. If it's still giving you an issue, just make sure that you call our customer care team at 888-773-3088 and they can help you with that. I'm sorry you're having issues. That's no fun. Okay, so with this one, if you wanted to give it a little bit more dimension, you could even glue two of those paper pieces on top of each other to get a little bit more dimension to give that frame kind of that extra oomph. So that's totally up to you. So you can go ahead and just put this pink piece in the center here. Totally up to you how you many you add in there. And then you'll just go ahead. You can glue one or two of these on top of each other, and that is ready for that photo that can also just be cut out with that opening. And then for the back, it's totally up to you. You can go back and decorate that. On this one, we just added the white with that white polka dotted edge along with these green pieces. So totally up to you if you wanted to decorate that as well. So hopefully that is helpful. Sylvia, you said your total is 109. Yes. If you want to contact a customer care team, Tracy said yes, she is on it with you there too. So you can email or call and they'll be able to help you. I'm sorry that you're having issues with that. Okay, so we're going to take one more close-up look on this one, and then we will move on to, I don't know what number card we're on. I feel like I keep thinking we're on a different one. We're on card number 11. Isn't that just pretty? So this one's using the Cascading Fuchsias. Super, super beautiful. Cherie, are all 12 cards available for viewing on the blog? These cards have been featured on the blogs ever since the first ones would have been on Black Friday. So you can always go back and through there and flip through there. However, something that's very helpful to know is if you type in the die that was used in our search box, click on the die when it comes up, and then there's going to be related projects. So if it was featured on the blog already, it'll come up when you type that in, which is a helpful tip. Now, I have a bonus project at the end that I just made yesterday that I wanted to throw into this class that is not on the blog yet. But everything else I think is. If I see a card there marked on the back which blog date they were posted, if I see one that wasn't, I will let you know. So this one, they're like, okay, so this one I don't, yeah, this one's one I did. This one was not featured on the blog yet. This one was just an online class card. So with this one, we use the Wild Roses. This one is another shaker card using the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. So this one you are using the very similar technique that we did. This one I kept a little bit more simple. So with this, you're going to cut that opening into the front card panel. So we're going to grab that die again. Are you guys getting so many ideas with this die? I love this die. So I'm going to run this through, and then while this is going through, we'll show you. So this is another shaker card. I can tell you this, I just do not get tired of shaker cards, do you? Okay, so we're going to put this through. Karen, you said number 10 is so beautiful, right? It's just so stunning. I love how that one turns out. Okay, so let's take a closer look of this one as well. So this one has the fold on the right, and then the next fold is on the left. And this one, I love the simplicity of it in the decorating, but I also just love how simple it is to put together. So here we go through the just another layering technique with this and how to do your shaker card. So this is a double shaker card, so you have two pieces of the plastic. So the first piece of plastic, I just layer again just right on the top here. So we're going to go ahead and glue that down. Is it helpful to see this multiple ways and how that's done? So glue this down. Okay. Gail, you said you love all these cards and you can't wait to get started. Yay! I think, let's see what's coming up pretty soon. Yeah, we're down to, oh, I can't wait. I was like, I've got to take a peek at what's coming next. Okay, so we have one that is directly on the card base, okay? And then I'm going to glue these two. So this is a little bit easier way to add your foam in case you're a little bit like, you have issues with your foam. So you're going to glue another piece right behind this one. We are using all the pieces from the Elegant Swirl Gateway die. So with this one, you just glue this piece to this one. Now, when we put these together, oops, I got a little smudge in there. Hopefully we won't see that when we go to put this. So what I love about this is you have a little bit more of a border. So you have a little bit more flexibility when you are putting the foam down. So this might, if you struggle with shaker cards, this might be a little bit easier for you because this has a wider border and is not as narrow. So I just go ahead and add this. Does that make sense? So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and just etch that foam all the way down, okay? So I'll do that on both sides. And then we'll do a little piece. Oh, I think this will, yep. So I find that this is a pretty quick way to make a shaker if you struggle, if you have a little bit of a wider piece. So we're just going to pull these pieces off. So this is working off of the card base. So thank you, Colleen. You have I hope your doctor's appointment goes great. It was great to have you here today. Okay. There we go. I'm going to add pink prills. These are called Hot Mama prills. In the center, I'm going to add a little bit more on this one. And then we're just going to go ahead and layer this piece on top. So this has the window in it. So you can go ahead and just put this right on top. Just layer that in. See how simple that was? Super, super simple. So that is another way that you can put that shaker together very quickly. And then you can just go ahead and layer your decorative pieces on top. So that's just a very quick way to do a shaker very easily if you wanted to. So hopefully that was a very simple way for you to see that you can do that shaker as well. Karen, you just said you don't have the wisteria. You know what? If you don't have the wisteria and you're getting it, I taught an online class on how to shape those. You can go back into the online class section. It was an amazing class. Liz, you asked if I'm using anti-stick powder. You know what? I'm not. But that, oops, you know what? Okay, we're going to do that here. I did this. No. Okay. We're not going to do that. I was talking and not paying attention. Okay. So this one, sorry, Liz, I'll get back to you on that. I distracted myself. I'm so sorry. I'm going to go ahead and do this in the center. So this is one that has a clear opening. And I'm going to brush that glue off. And that will dry clear then. And I'll go back and clean that up a little bit. But this piece is supposed to be in the back, not in the front. So we're going to go ahead and use that same technique we had done before. Just lay that in, close that up, and that gives you that base, okay? And then you can go ahead and the insides, I just added a basic cut, and that just decorates that. You can add the flowers in the front, and that completes that card for you. Liz, you asked, I didn't use anti-stick powder, but that is a great tip, because sometimes if I haven't finger touched my clear cardstock too much yet, or if it's not too humid, sometimes it doesn't stick a lot, but that's always a great policy to do, especially if you're not sure if it's going to stick or not. So you can always test it out too before you put the clear cardstock on, just to see, because I have had that where I forgot it and then it's like, oh my goodness, what am I doing? So the next card we're doing is a large card, but it is not a fold-out card. I wanted to show you some examples on how you can do it, on how you can use these dies on card bases that are not using the gatefold cards. So you have some versatility. So don't just think gatefold cards on these. You can use a lot of versatility with this. I love just the intricacy of this one. This one is using the beautiful, beautiful die that is super versatile. They're all versatile, right? But the Ornate Flourish Gateway die. So for this one, all we did was we have the measurements in the PDF, so for the card base. Now this is a pretty wide one. I have a bonus slimline card that I'll show you at the end as well. But for this one, what we did is I'll show you the pieces that we cut. So this one, you are literally, there is a circle that is just, you can see it just a little bit in here. So there is a gold circle if you want to cut that out, totally up to you. But literally what you are doing is you are taking, you're layering the pieces together. So this is the last piece just before we go ahead and layer these white pieces. So you're going to lay in your circle piece, and then we have these pieces from this die. Now, again, you will pick out, I find that it's going to be easier for you to use this center piece, and this piece, but then use the outlines from the Scallop Flourish Gateway die, and that will be your backer for your gold cardstock. Does that make sense? So you're going to cut one out from each size, okay? So that will go in the backer of those. June, you said, which did you use for the blue background paper? Anything that was blue came from the Floral Shop paper collection. So with this one, all you need to do is just, again, give that gold a little bit of an offset. And then the center was really 3D'd. And then the outside edges, we did 2 of the smallest side and we put that one kind of off to the side here. And then the other side you don't really see, doesn't it? It kind of mimics the circle edge. I love how that comes together, right? So you can kind of dimension, really make the centerpiece very dimensional. And then when you add those flowers to the top, that is where that will really kind of take place. Does that make sense? Sylvia, you said, I love how, Shirley, you said, which number is this one? This is number 13. So this is card number 13. So this one, just 3D that centerpiece, and then you can add your flowers to the side, and then you have the beautiful, these are two of the same pieces. So it's the bottom piece from, let's see, from this set. So it's the bottom piece from the Scallop Flourish Gateway set. And then it's the centerpiece from the Ornate Flourish Gateway die. Does that make sense? Jema, hi. I've got a bonus project on the back that was totally inspired by you. It's great to see you on here. Pam told me that you were talking with her, and I was like, I got to do that for her. Do you know which one it is? That slimline card I was talking about? That was made for you. Okay, so we are just about to that one. But before we get to that one, we have one more card and a box die, or a box project. These dies are beautiful with box projects, but we're going to show one more way to use the die that has 11 pieces. That's really kind of like a lot of different elements going into each other with this. Love how it comes together. So we're going to pull these pieces out. We're going to take a close-up look at this one so you can see how beautifully this comes together. Which flowers is this vellum one? The last one was also the classic rose on vellum. This one is the peonies. This one was featured on the blog on the 30th of December. Or just remember, if you type in the die, so this would be using the Scallop Flourish Gateway die, the card will be under that and the projects that match and coordinate with this one. So I'm going to pull this out so you can see which projects were used or which ones. Now, this one has a beautiful background on the card there, so you can see how this one was used. This one is just a two-fold card, right? So if you wanted to, you could totally cut your own two-fold cards, right? And what you do is you will just fold a piece of cardstock in half, and you're going to use the largest die from the Scallop Flourish Gateway die. You're going to have that folded card piece so that this edge is just extending a little bit off, and that will create just two-fold cards, right? Now, I'm not going to do that right now, but you could also always cut one off, but I don't think you should do that if you're using. You can just do that with just a two-fold card and cut the card base. So with this, Liz, you said, oh, bummer, thanks for the answer. So I'm not quite following what you're bummed out about. Hopefully it's all going to be okay there. Okay, so with this one, you are going to use the large piece. You're going to cut that out first. You're going to take a gold piece of cardstock. You're going to use the scallop and the, let me bring this die in so you can see which I'm pulling. You're going to use the second and third largest side to cut the scallop. Okay. Now, when you go to do this piece, total it to you. But I would grab, if you want to have it connected like this, you can position it like we did on one of the earlier cards, or if you want to grab the die from the Ornate Flourish Gateway die where it's all connected in the center, since we're not adding the little scallop pieces or the stitch piecing in there, you could also always use this piece which has it all connected. So you can cut that out. So with that, I'm going to show you how to layer this on top and see how that just brings that out. So you can do one with the gold, and then you can do one with that green cardstock. Now, if you want to do this scallop stitching in there again, you can use this piece and layer the stitching on the inside if you wanted to, right? Totally up to you if you wanted to do it that way, but you'd have to do that in two passes if you wanted to do it that way. So with this one, I'm just going to glue this down in the center a little bit so you can see the offset with a little bit of gold. I love how this one. One of you said, Bonnie said, Emily, the card you just finished is not in the gallery. Are you talking about this one? If you can't find it, you can always say, hey, I'm looking for card number 13. On the back of the card, it says it was featured on the blog on the 30th. Maybe it was missed, but you can always go back and email our customer care team and say it's card number 13 and see if they can help you find that too. So with this one, you have the gold edging there, and then you can always use a foam strip to just layer that up. And then you can go ahead and then just put these pieces in the middle, okay? So this is the piece with the gold and the green on top of each other. And then you'll have the top and the bottom as well. So you'll have the top layer with a little bit of gold. So I'll just lay this down. And then you'll have a bottom with a little bit of gold. And then this just outlines it. You can have this scallop going down. But then on this specific card, we 3D'd this on top. So that was just kind of on the top. Like, let me get my hand out of the way so you can see that. So that just kind of brought that up a little bit more. So that will pull that together, and then you can decorate that with some of the floral shop and the peony with that one. I love how that one turns out. Isn't that beautiful? Love, love, love that. Okay, so this was card number 14. Number 15 is not a card. It is a little box. And one of you said something about Valentine's Day. This would be perfect for Valentine's Day. We'll take a close-up look at this. This one, I am not sure if this one was on your PDF instructions or not, but if it was not, I'll give you all the measurements because it's a pretty... What I want you to take away from this box is the concept of making a box, and you can lengthen it, you can shorten it, you can alter it. I just want you to have the basics of how you can create it so that it enables you to create different styles of boxes, right? So for this one, you are going to be using the Scalloped Flourish Gateway die, and you're going to use this die to cut out 4 panels, okay? Now, as you can see, this is longer, so we trimmed this off. So this we trimmed off, let's just double check that, we trimmed off 1 inch, okay? So you can go ahead and cut out 4 panels in the pink, and if you want to double layer it, you'll want to do 8 panels. And the reason I say that is, I had glued some before the class. I wanted that to be together. Okay, so you're going to do 4 panels in the pink, cut off 1 inch on the bottom, and then you're also going to cut 4 more panels that are going to be in the pink in plain. Before you layer anything together, you're going to grab the top and bottom die of the Scalloped Flourish Gateway, and you're going to put it one on the top, and you're going to put this piece on the bottom, and that's what's going to give you this design. Okay, you'll do that on 4 pieces. You're going to cut out 8 pieces of the pink, and you're going to cut this design into 4 of them. You're also going to cut out 4 of the same size in gold, or you can make the gold a little bit shorter if you want. The reason I say you can cut a little bit shorter is you're just wanting that gold to cover this design. So if you're wanting to conserve the gold, you can. So when you have those all cut out, you're going to go ahead and just layer that gold right in the background. Fran, you said this basket is lovely. Yes, you can do this basket in any theme for any occasion, and you can make it different sizes. Now I have this a little bit longer. You could have made this basket shorter. So really what I'm wanting you to take away from this is not so much just the actual dimension I'm using, but more like the technique of it, because you can adjust these dimensions to make a larger or smaller basket, and you can also use different designs, right? So you can go ahead, and this is going to be the inside piece, right? Okay, so now when you go ahead and do this, now you're wanting to hinge this. So you'll make yourself 4 hinges, and these hinges we cut 1 inch by 3 1/4 inches, and we folded them at 1/2 inch. So you'll have 4 hinges, and then you'll have a base piece that was cut 5 1/2 inches. No, was it 5 1/2 inches? No, it's not 5 1/2 inches. Hang on a second. It's 5 inches. And then you score all 4 sides 1/2 inch, and that will give you your square. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to just bring these up and fold this, okay? Barbara, you said you get 2 if you spend 100. I'm thinking you're asking about the free gold cardstock. The gold cardstock is 1 per order. So it's like a $50 or more purchase. So then you're just going to go ahead and clip off these sides. And then we're ready to start putting this basket together. Now I'm not doing the this basket handle today, but if you have a basket like a lace border die that you want to use, you could totally use that. Or you can just keep it kind of as like an open scalloped box. So totally up to you. So I'm just clipping out the corners here. And that will go together for our base, okay? So we're going to go ahead and layer all 4 of these face down in a row. And we're going to bring in my hot glue gun. I'm using my hot glue gun because I want it to dry very quickly. So I'm just going to go ahead and glue. You could use a dry as clear glue if you're doing this at home. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in on one side. Now if you don't want hinges to show, you can always put that in between the layers as well, because we are totally up to you. I am just doing kind of the easy format, and then you could always go back and you could put the hinges in between the sandwich of the 2 pink pieces as well. Okay, now I know you can't see that as well, but you're basically just hinging these 2 together, okay? So just make sure that you've got a nice corner there. So we'll do the same thing for this one. Can you see okay? I'm kind of looking down and gluing. Yes, this is the Starry Night die, thank you. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and add those hinges, and you're literally just making, I don't focus so much on just having that square box look right away. I'm just making sure that I'm hinging it in properly. So I'm going to fold this in and make sure that that bottom is lined up well. There we go. So I just want to make sure it's straight down here, so when we go to put the box bottom on, we are all good to go, right? Have you ever done that when you're like gluing something down and you're like having to be square all around? You're like, wait, we're a little bit crooked. It's not working. Okay, so we've probably all been there, done that. Okay, now I'm just going to fold this over and hinge this in. So this is just a great, Liz said, does anybody know where my scissors are? You know, just check the wastebasket. That's typically where mine is at. Funny story, when our cleaners come in during the weekend, I oftentimes, when I'm crafting, I have my paper trimmer sitting on top of my wastebasket. And sometimes my wastebasket accidentally gobbles up my paper trimmer. One time I came back and they said, Emmylou, is this trash? Because my paper trimmer had fallen into the trash can. So thankfully they had seen it and thought it didn't look like trash. So I was very grateful for that. Okay, so we have all 4 corners and we're just going to hinge that together in a square. How easy is that? Sherry, you said hot glue adheres much faster so you don't have to hold it. Yes, that is why I like to use a hot glue for this, especially when I'm demoing live. So I can just, you know, it's an instant bond and I can just keep on going. And then all you have to do is take your little box. I'm not going to spend the time to glue that in, but basically you just tuck these edges in and glue those flaps. So you can do 1 flap at a time and just bring that in to the bottom. So this, what had I said the measurements were? 5 inches, right? So you can just bring that in, just glue down one side as you go, one side to the next, and that will make that beautiful box. So as you can see, this makes a box, a beautiful box just like this. But like I said, you could also always, you know, if you want to have those seams covered, you could have sandwiched those in between the 2 pinks as well. So that is definitely something you can do. So that is the basics of how you can create a beautiful box that's using the classic rose in vellum. So I wanted to pop in a little bonus project. Slimline cards, have you seen them? Do you like them? I had one of our crafters that had registered for this class that said, oh my gosh, she'd like to see how these dies could be used on a slimline card. So I just wanted to pull this in and show you some of the pieces fall into the basket. So here is a slimline card. If you have never made these, this is your business envelope style card. And this one is not on the PDF, so there's no cutouts for this. I just used some of the Wild Rose paper collection. And I cut this card, wait, what is the size of that again? Is it 9? Is it 9 1/4? Yeah, 9 1/4 by 4 inches. So you're going to go ahead and you can use the Scallop Flourish Gateway die, or you can use the Ornate Flourish Gateway die for this. Totally up to you. But all you need to do is just cut those pieces out, and you'll have your card. Let's see, let's put it this way. I did use foam dots, but you can take those pieces. You can glue those down. They are exact size. You can really have a lot of fun with these. I used the top part of the die, which was from the Ornate Flourish die, and just put that on opposite sides, right? See how, and you can split it a little bit further if you wanted to. I did foam dots on mine. I glittered mine up and added some of the Wild Rose. Now this is not a project that is online anywhere. I just put this together yesterday as a bonus project for you, and Jamie was asking about that as well. So this is just a fun slimline card. If you want it for just quick and easy mailing, just add some flat flowers, add your sentiment, and you're all done. So this is a really simple, very quick and easy card that I think you'll absolutely enjoy. So Marion, you said best class ever. You get the student of the award, student award today, right? No, you guys have been champions. I know we are over by about 25 minutes today, but you guys have been troopers. I so appreciate your patience. Hey, we experienced some bloopers. You saw how we recovered from those bloopers. I'm sure you'll have some bloopers as well as you create. When you experience those, just be patient with yourself. And just remember, when you go back and rewatch this, just pause that video, and when you see the spot that you're wanting to see more of, and you can see that up close, that gives you the time to do the project, and then you can move along. And I am in your back pocket in your class section of your account for a very long time. So when you're up in the middle of the night, you can't sleep, or you just need to pick me up, just jump in and you can do that. Again, if you have not taken advantage of the deluxe paper pack as a freebie, make sure you take advantage of that. You get that free with a $50 or more purchase. Just enter code 129857, and just a heads up that expires on January 9th. And if you have been looking at limited edition items, that is ending today at midnight Eastern Standard Time. Some of those items are up to 70% off. Plus, once those items are gone, they will be gone forever. So don't miss out on those. I don't know what all is in that category anymore. There might be some papers that you love that you should stock up on, so I don't want you to miss out on that. If you would be so kind, I would love to hear what you liked about this class. You can leave a review by clicking right on the bottom of this screen, and you'll be entered in for a $100 shopping spree, not a screen. You'll be entered for a $100 shopping spree. And you'll want to do that by the 9th. If you're like me, I like to do that right away so I don't forget. So with that, I think that's everything for today. I'm sorry I did not get to all of your comments today, but you guys have been absolutely amazing. I have so loved spending the very first online class of 2021 with you. Before I go, did you want to see what's coming up in February? The February one, I've got it hiding right here. I just put it on the floor by my feet. Thankfully, I didn't trip over them in class. It is all about flower shaping. Do you love flowers? Chances are you do. So I'm going to grab these. So I'm going to duck underneath and I'm going to pick them up. And up she comes with a beautiful basket of flowers. I'm going to flip this around so you can see it up close. But we released the zinnias in, was it September of 2020? And I wanted to come back and teach you how to shape these 8 different ways. And who knows, in between now and then I might have some bonus tips, right? So this, let's get some close-ups. This is just like a little basket of, we're going to make lots of flowers, shape them different ways, layer them. We're going to use beautiful color combinations and really learn the ins and outs of shaping zinnias. We're going to do some fun cutting into them, lots of beautiful ways. So you can get registered for that. That registration just opened today for everybody. So get your spot in that class and we'll see you in February. With that, have an absolute amazing time creating those one-of-a-kind cards with these Black Friday Gateway dies. Before I go, I have a special little guest that just entered the room. Some of you, does anybody want to guess who just entered the room? First one to guess. Okay. So I have my little guy that just entered the room. And did you guys want to see him before we go off? Xander, did you want to come to Mama? We'll have him say hi to everybody. Did you want to come to Mama? Aw, can you say hi? Can you say hi to our friends? Yeah, we have some pretty flowers. Can you say hi? Yeah, say hi. Yeah, we were showing everybody what flowers we're going to make next month. Do you think they're pretty too? Yeah, these kind of match your pants. So with that, we're so grateful you were able to spend your afternoon with us. Thank you so much for joining us today from our craft room to yours. We hope you have a lot of fun creating. Can you help Mommy say bye-bye? Bye-bye. You say bye-bye. Okay, we'll see you next time. Bye.